Son dos cosas que él, son dos cosas que te.
Ahora estoy en vivo. Hey, what's up? What's up? YouTube, this King Gio in the house. I want to apologize to everybody that I haven't been on for a few days. That I had a bad back. I was able to work Friday and Saturday, and I couldn't go yesterday or today because of my bad back. But anyway, guys, I'm here now. Today is going to be talking about. Well, before I go any further, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Subscribe to my channel, smash that like button, and you hit that. You see that bell on your right hand side. Hit that, and it'll notify you when I King Gio to a live, or I'm coming up with a live, or a video has been posted. All right, so we're gonna do this real quick. So we're gonna talk about today what's going on with America. America is going mad. So we're talking about America going mad, and I wanted to say this because a lot of things has been going on these past few weeks. There's been like 3 mass shootings in the past week. The kid from the FedEx killed 8 people. What happened before? I mean, this is just getting too ridiculous. And the young man that they shot, that he said that he had a gun in Chicago when he didn't have a gun. Maybe if he had a gun, he would. They said that maybe he had a gun and he threw it away. But when you saw the video, there was no gun in his hand. So I don't understand what's really going on. Let me see if I can invite someone here. Be back, guys. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to see if I do an invite. I want to. This is a touchy subject that these things in America it's going on, and nobody in Congress, nobody has been doing anything, and it's a shame. You know, what's that guy's name? He's very controversial. He's on Facebook a lot. The name's conspiracy theorist. What's his name? I forgot his name. But anyway, he's down with Candace Owens and all that. And these people, all they give you is always semantics. They give you. He had an argument with Gerardo Rivera the other day, and Gerardo Rivera was like, "Well, they're killing the young black guys." And like, no, that's not true. Because if they were out there massacring black people, then you would see that happening. And he's giving a statistic about what the DOJ says, and this is not the DOJ thing. Let's go with the real facts that black people are dying. Trying to find her email. No. Okay. And it amazes me how these things are going on, and we allow people talking about. Look, when these massacres happen, the Republican Party drives on it because they're saying, "Oh, they're taking away your Second Amendment rights. They're gonna do this." Look, did FDR take your Second Amendment rights? No. Did Barack Obama take your Second Amendment rights? No. Did Abraham Lincoln take your Second Amendment rights? No. Did Bill Clinton take Bill Clinton take it right? No. Did Donald Trump take your Second Amendment right? No. Forget about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Democrats. Has any Democrat ever taken your Second Amendment right? No, it hasn't. Okay, because they can't. They can't do that because that's an amendment. They can, if you really want to say about it, they can amend it because it's an amendment. It's amended. They can amend it whenever they want to, but they haven't done that. What they're trying to do is to make sure that when you get a gun or someone who's going to have a gun, that the guns fall into the hands of the right people, that there is no history of mental issues. They know that you're not going to go out there and you're going to go, oh, buck wild. I mean, if you talk about other countries, this is the only country that you see these things happening. In other countries, Germany, do you see everything with Germany where guns are out of control? No. Because if you read into the Second Amendment wasn't meant for you to have firearms. Because automatic weapons, because automatic weapons and all those kind of weapons that we have now was not back then. And when you see a Republican say, this is what our forefathers intended to do, that's not it. It was intended for a specific reason. It was intended for a specific reason, and that specific reason means a lot because back in the days, like I said, they didn't have AK-47s, they didn't have RA-15s, they didn't have M16s, they didn't have none of that. Had our forefathers foreseen that, trust me, they wouldn't have put that on there because they knew what kind of people they seen the horror stories of the time, and they wouldn't allow someone who's insane to have a gun. So why are you so afraid of having an intensive background check? If you're okay with it, have an intensive background. Let them check you out. Let them check the person out. You know, let them do that. But Republicans scream, "Oh, they're going to take away your Second Amendment right," and you guys fall into it. That's something that cannot be taken away. Okay, that's something that cannot be taken away, and you fall for it. And what you do, gun sales go up. The NRA don't care because the NRA is not going to tell you any different. They'll go to the Republicans and say, yeah, they're going to take away your Second Amendment right. And you have people who don't use their heads and say, oh, they're going to take away my Second Amendment right. It's not. And they're not. So you're falling in their narrative because that's their narrative, and you guys fall for it. And you guys shouldn't fall for it. You guys should be intelligent enough and say, they can't take my Second Amendment right. They can't do that. You know, they can't do this. They can't do that. You got to think for yourself. You got to do the research for yourself. If you don't know history, if you don't know what the Constitution, just because it says Second Amendment says you have the right to bear arms, you gotta look in deep into that. Why was it put on? It was for militia reasons. There was for a lot of reasons. But to owning a automatic weapon, that was not the reason because they didn't have automatic weapons back then. That's not the way it was. And then for you to come out and say that there is no disparity between blacks and whites, that there is no racism between blacks and whites, there's no racism that that white cops are after black people. For you to say that because you have people like Kennesaw and Shapiro and other morons who go with statistics, or the DOJ says this, or the DOJ says that, statistics says this. Forget about what statistics says. You're gonna have more proportion of blacks doing something because there's less black people. So the numbers are going to be higher. That's math. That's completely math. That's math. All right. Compare the black population here in the United States, only 14% of 330 million people. That's 41. That's 41. 41 African Americans in this country. Compare. What's up, Dave? Yeah, Mets all the way, but they're losing the second game. And you know, and they want you to believe all this because of numbers. The numbers, all the DOJ said, no, forget about that. I can tell you, I lived in the Bronx. I'm born and raised in Bronx, New York, the South Bronx to be exact. In the South Bronx. Hello, Anastasia. Hey. How you doing?
What's up? I'm doing awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Sorry that I haven't been in your live.
It's all right. No worries.
I meant to be in your life yesterday, but my back hurt so much that I couldn't even wait. I can't get up. I had to go to urgent care. They gave me a shot in my buttocks. That helped a lot.
You old, dude. That's what happens to old people like you.
Wait. You know, if you're gonna say that, then we're not gonna get along. We're not gonna get along.
Hey, I'm just saying, the true self sets you free. Listen, I'm not that much. Listen, I'm not that much younger than you, so trust me. My leg was hurting for 3 days after driving from Mississippi to here.
No, but what happened was, my doctor said that I suffer from some weird name there, and I have, but my back pains come and go, but not like yesterday. Yesterday I went down, I got dressed, I wanted to go to work, I opened my trunk, I went to put something in my trunk, and my back said, whoosh. like that.
Did it make that sound? It went whoosh.
Yeah, whoosh. And I went to the floor, and I told my son to get on my back. That still didn't do anything. It didn't do anything at all. So I said, all right, fine. I had to call my job. Then I went to urgent care. They gave me a shot yesterday. Well, this happened Thursday. They gave me a shot yesterday, and that alleviated the pain a lot.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, old dude, but you know that's.
Did you stop it? I know voodoo, bro. This is Puerto Rican face voodoo. I don't know Haitian voodoo. Yeah, so
that ain't no voodoo. You just old. Get over it.
There we go again. The first drug, bro.
But think about it this way: somebody didn't make it, so I can't wait till I get 50 because somebody didn't make it to my age. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the world today.
There are some people who have it worse than I do.
Yes.
But at that moment, I felt pain. I wasn't even thinking about that. I wasn't like, oh, somebody out there is having worse pain than I am. Okay, it's gone. No. I can say that now. Yeah, so I wanted to get on your live yesterday because it was the title intrigued me. And then I was watching, what's this idiot's name that he has to show that he was doing the thing? It's an Italian guy. He had a fit with Geraldo yesterday. He's down with Candace and Shapiro.
Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson?
Those are even more idiots than this guy.
I mean, what was the subject that he was talking about?
Well, okay, no, the subject was that Geraldo Rivera. They were and this guy was saying Geraldo Rivera that there is no disparity with cops going after black people. That there is there's no disparity at all. That kid got shot for whatever. I don't forget what he said. He was not applauding, but in a sense saying that the lady cop that killed Daunte Wright, that she did it. He's trying to justify it. And he's going, oh, well, the DOJ statistic, because that's all they do is they give you numbers. But that's all they think they're good at is giving you numbers, going this and going to that. And that gets me frustrated because a lot of people follow that. Here you are. Let's be realistic. Whether he had a warrant, whether Daunte Wright had a warrant or not, that's irrelevant. Whether he ran when he was trying to run from the cop, that's irrelevant. The point here is that this lady's been in the police force for 26 years. She should know the difference between how it feels, what the difference between her stun gun is and what her handgun is. Two different feelings. When you put it out, you see the damn thing is yellow. Supposedly you have it on your weak side.
I mean, okay, so let you probably wonder why I'm looking like I have this like placid face. Like, let's be clear about certain things, right? When they use these statistics, they're not talking about per capita. Okay, so this is when you have the talking point of more white people get shot by the cops, right? Which is true because there's more white people in this country. But per capita, because there's less of us here, it's going to hit a little bit different. The second part of it, what you got to understand is Dr. Lilly Fuller Jr. said, if you don't understand white supremacy, you don't understand anything about the world. So what Fox News is doing, which it was made to do, what Roger Ailes intended, was right-wing propaganda, which is be afraid, you're white, so you're right. And the simple fact about it is be afraid of everything. Immigrants, the LGBTQ+, black people, brown people. Be afraid because they're out to get you. So when you have this situation, they're not going to show empathy. And then when you have a situation like with Geraldo Rivera, the fact of the matter is, you got to remember there are people within our racial groups that will align with white supremacy. It always happens. So to be surprised about something like that, I mean, I'm not surprised about it. I think his name was Don Bondino. Is that what you're talking about?
That's him, Benzino,
That's
yeah.
his name. I was just looking it up while we were talking. What you have to understand is you're gonna have black people that come up there and say, you know what, white people, you're right about black people. There's not a problem with black people being 3 to 4 times as likely to be shot, 3 to 4 times as being arrested. They always go for look at the stats on it. But what they forget, there's a little yellow thing that says arrest. When we're talking about statistics, it says arrest. So now you have people that say that nobody arrested, right, is ever innocent. We know that's a lot. Like, I literally had somebody tell me that nobody that gets arrested, nobody that goes to jail, nobody that's convicted has ever been innocent. Like, this is the thought process. So when you shouldn't waste your brain cells on stuff like that. I don't negotiate with terrorists.
Oh, that's true. You can call them. You can tell them that. No, but it's just no. But the funny thing is that I see it, and people actually believe the things that they say. It's like when you see a Republicans and they, because of all this is going on, this mass shooting, the Republican Party, the NRA, they jump on this and they say, well, they're going for your guns. They're going for your guns, and the sales of guns go up, right? They're going to take the Second Amendment right. But people are so stupid that they know that that's something they can't take away. It's an amendment. It could get amended, but it hasn't happened in 200 some odd years. What makes you think it's going to happen now?
Okay, so let's be clear about certain things. I am neither I neither support Democrats or Republicans because for me they are two wings of the same racist bird. Right? No, but what I'm okay. So what I'm gonna say about this is that both of them are getting paid by the same people. Let's just be clear about that. So when you're talking about gun control and all of these things, you have to understand what was the inception of the militia. Everybody says, oh, it's because of tyranny. No, it's because of slave insurrections. This is why we have this situation where...
You believe that the Second Amendment was made was to make sure that slave...
Yes.
The uprising of slaves. Yes. That they were afraid there was going to be an uprising of slaves.
No doubt. Let me tell you something. First of all, white supremacists are typical and basic. Okay, they never change their record, right? So the simple fact of the matter is, where did the cops come from? The cops were inception of bringing property back. What was the property that they were bringing back and controlling? Which was enslaved Africans, period. That's historical data. So you can have revisionist history that say that's not what it was. But let's be clear. The NRA was all about gun safety until the Black Panthers rolled up in the Capitol building where you had Governor Ronald Reagan and was like, oh, whoa, these Negroes getting guns too? We got to put that. That's why California has the strictest gun laws, because of Black Panthers. Point blank and simple. So I was listening to TYT today, and Jenk said the same thing I've been saying for years. Every able-bodied Black man and woman should go get their license to carry and carry steel. And I'm going to tell you right now how fast gun laws change. It's just as simple as that.
That's true. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, right?
Say that again?
I said that's true. If it's good for the goose, it's got to be good for the gander. Play their game.
Well, come on now. It doesn't work like that. And you know it doesn't work like that. The fact of the matter is that James Baldwin said this. When a white man says, give me liberty or give me death, it's like, but a Black man says that, guess what you're going to get? Death. Because they're never going to give you any kind of liberty. That's why it must be taken.
So as a group, blacks and browns, how do we go about doing these things? Because this was going on for years, and we're still getting the same outcome. We still going in circles. So how do we break from that circle?
Well, to break from the circle is getting on code. The other thing you have to understand is that we're all in the same boat. You may be on this level of the slave ship, and I may be on this level of the slave ship, but you're still on a slave ship.
I know that.
So until everybody understands that we're in the same boat, it was just if you think about it, remember I told you the last time that racism is like a game of tag. We started off with putting Hispanic and Latinx people in cages, right? They're saying that there are these hordes and caravans of people coming to attack the United States. You know, I still remember watching a 16-year-old boy die at a toilet in one of those detention camps by himself. And the person that was he had been laying there for hours. But you'll have a white supremacist say what? Well, Obama built those cages, and who gives a goddamn who built it?
Exactly.
That's where the Flores Act from. And see, a lot of people don't even know what the Flores Act is. Okay? So now you had a game of tag. Now let's blame Muslims. Oh, Muslims, oh, blah, 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 blah. They're going to kill us, blah, 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 blah. If I can see right, it's been nothing but right-wing, heterosexual, Christian males shooting up because it's a Wednesday.
I agree.
Okay. Now,
I'm with you in everything because what you said, which is very poignant, because that's why I drifted away a few years ago. I drifted away from the Democratic Party because I knew they're in the same boat. They're both in cahoots, but they just drink the Kool-Aid differently.
yeah.
And I noticed this because since I've been a kid, and I've been following politics since Reagan was there. And Reagan, when AIDS first started, at the beginning of the AIDS, Reagan never mentioned it. Nancy did, but not him. He didn't want to recognize it. He didn't want to know about it because in his eyes, they kept saying it was a homosexual thing, which was not. But anyway, so from Reagan to
can I interject for a minute?
Yeah,
Nancy Reagan. No, let me explain something about Nancy Reagan. She was just as horrible as her husband. This is the thing. We try to play these games that these women are these hapless victims. Nancy Reagan,
I never said that. I said
I'm just saying.
The first one to mention the word AIDS, not him. That's all I said. I never said she was better than him.
Yeah, but she was a part of that dynamic of crowning it around is just homosexuals. And let's be clear, that was during the time where a lot of black homosexuals was getting AIDS and stuff like that. So of course they didn't care. And Nancy Reagan is the same one that was with the DARE program that was like, just say no. You know what I'm saying? So she is trash, just like her husband. But go ahead.
You lost my train of thought now.
Nancy Reagan and AIDS.
Yeah, so I was getting so if you look at it, every 4 years, as I was looking at it, they come up with the same shit. They come up with immigration. They come up with health. They come up with work. They came up with all these things that could have been done 20 or 30. You don't think immigration should have been solved 30 or 40 years ago? Of course it could. You don't think our health system could have been done 30 or 40 years ago? I mean, I'm been done? Of course it can. But it doesn't benefit them because if they strike an accord and they make an agreement with immigration, it comes another 4 years, there's nothing to talk about. In their mind, if you do universal health care or you better the system for everybody, then there's nothing to talk about in the next 4 years because everybody's happy. So they try to maintain, both parties try to maintain an accord. I mean, happiness there, and it doesn't work. So that's the way they're doing things. Like I said, if you wanted to get rid of immigration, if you wanted to do this, you could have done it in a legal way. You could have done it. Look, right now, there's what 18 to 19 million illegals here in this country, 11 million. It's very simple. If those people, if you're fighting about money, whatever, if those people have been in this country illegally, they've been there for so long. So give those people a social security card, let them pay federal taxes like we all do, and let them in some ways let them earn their citizenship. You can have,
but they do pay taxes. That
I know they do. But they pay. But listen to this. But they pay taxes. But they get nothing in return
from it.
They get nothing in return. So what's the point? I understand that. But what I was trying to say, and then once they pay the taxes, they can earn their citizenship that way. But now they're paying taxes and they're not getting it in return. This is not pro quo. I give you something. No, it's more quick. I get, you get nothing.
Right. I mean, I just sent you something too. So look at your phone. But the thing about it is this is the whole thing. This country was made up from illegal immigrants. Those white people that came over here were basically illegal immigrants. But the fact that they were European and we lionized them, oh, they came here for from religious freedom, that's a lie. That's a lie. The simple fact, they came over here to make money. They did not know how to survive. The Native Americans helped them. What did Native Americans get in turn? Disease, raped, and murdered. Period. That's what happened. And this is what they do. And, I'm not going to hold back on any of that. The fact of the matter is
that's all white people in this country has ever done. Those immigration, that's all it's ever done is it's bring disaster. If you look at America now and you look at England back in the day, that's what it basically is. The same shit all over again. Everybody's killing everybody. White people killing everybody. If you're not white, you're killing somebody. If you don't have this color eyes, like Haley said, you're not better than me. I mean, all this kind of shit. And these people, and when these people, and I hate it when people say, so if you don't like it, why don't you go back to Africa?
Why don't you go back?
I said, motherfucker, this isn't even your country. This is not, put it this way, at least you could say, I have my own country. I'm African. That's a heritage. That's an ethnicity. Being American is not that's not an ethnicity.
It's a nationality.
That's you're an American.
That's nationality.
Wow.
But yeah. But this is the thing. Let's be clear about certain things, because Louis Farrakhan said this like in the 80s. And that's what Caucasians were saying. Well, why don't you go back to where you came from? First of all, I didn't ask to come here. We were minding our business, building pyramids and washing and being astronomers, astrologers, and we were doing our thing. You came over there and messed with us. If you would have minded your business, you know what I'm saying, and did your thing like you always do, which you always eat yourself, we wouldn't have these issues. But let's be clear about certain things when we're talking about immigration. A lot of ethnic groups feel like, okay, I came over here, but we'll close the door behind them. And so when you have a situation like that, it's a problem, because you're like, wait a minute, you're an immigrant too. And when you came over here, you didn't come over here, I guess, the legal way. So how are you going to close the door on some of your same people trying to do the same thing? So that's my only issue.
That's like when you have you have a Cuban, but they come from Cuba and they come, but that was before, and they come to Cuba and they become a Republican, and they all right wings and they all this and they all that, and then they have the audacity to tell other Cubans, well, why don't you go back? Why don't you do this? Motherfucker, you're here illegally. The only reason that you're here, the only reason you were here illegally before the end of Barack Obama's term was because you were the only people in around the world that if you reached America, you would get political asylum. You were the only ones.
I was watching something yesterday. It was about the soldiers in the Bay of Pigs, and so they supported Donald Trump. And they were like, anytime we hear something about socialism and communism, we're going to fight against it, yada, yada, this and the third, because of Fidel Castro. And his brother's name was Raul, right?
Raul, he stepped out the other day.
Right, he stepped down. And so these guys, I guess Trump visited them like in the 90s, and then they went to the White House when he was president or whatever the case may be. But the sad thing about it is this. So these people that are coming from South America and Central America, why were their countries destabilized? Because of America. Okay? With us putting in puppet dictators and regime change and drugs and the Iran-Contra scandal and all this. And let's talk about what happened with the Bay of Pigs and, with Kennedy and them. The fact of the matter is that the America started that fight in Turkey against the Soviet Union. But people don't want to talk about that they started at pointing their nukes at the Soviet Union. So when they did when they did that in Cuba, that was only in a response to what Kennedy did. And I can prove that one. So this is what I'm saying. And let's talk about Fidel Castro and Raul. I'm not Cuban. I've never lived in Cuba, and I'm not a subject matter expert. But what I'm going to tell you, any person or any leader that does not want the United States in a business, somehow, some way, they end up dead or murdered, or we villainize them.
From what I've heard from Cubans, they say that Castro and Batista were two peas in a pod. The only difference between them two is that Bautista bowed down to the Americans. Back in those days, if you had money, you had everything. You come from the Americas, you go down to the casinos, you get everything. And what Fidel Castro did was that he didn't like that regime because only the rich would be able to live there. Only the rich were, the rich got richer, just like America. So when he threw those people, when he overtook the country, he took the people from Bautista to give them a choice: either you with us or you against us. You can have two. So what he wanted to do was he wanted to take back the island, and he wanted to give to the people. He wanted to give people their jobs. Make sure that right now in Cuba, everybody owns their own house. Everybody owns their own house. 99.9% of the people have they know how to read and write. Okay. So what happened with Fidel Castro, and this is documented. He said, you can see him saying it. He said, I will work with the Americans, but I will not bow to the Americans. And that's when everything shut down.
And that's what Idi Amin, it was the same thing. I'm not saying he was not a dictator. That's not what I'm saying. So everybody out there, we are not saying we want communism or dictatorship. That's not what we're saying.
No, I'm
what
not saying
we're saying is, I'm sorry?
I said, I'm not saying that either.
Yeah, I'm just telling people because, some people get butthurt like, oh my God, you want to be in a communist country. That's not what we're talking about. And to be totally honest, a lot of people don't even know the difference between socialism and communism.
Nope. That is the funny thing.
That you don't even know.
You see, the funny thing is that you see right wings, they're like, I don't want to live in a socialist country. I don't want this country. Bitch, do you know what socialism really means? Do you really know?
They don't even know what it means.
If you think about socialism, that's giving you power. They don't see that. So look, I was reading yesterday, which was a cool story. There was this young man. He's doing he has a factory. He owns a company that he does data research. So when he started doing data research, he started the minimum wage for all of his employees. It's $70,000 a year. He said that by doing that, his company has risen. His employees work harder.
Right.
He has more clientele. He opened up another base in Seattle, and he's paying those employees $70,000 a year. And everybody's telling you, "Oh, you're a socialist," blah. And then they don't think about it this way. Here you are, you bust your ass, right? And this asshole, for your knowledge, is paying you $10 an hour. Now he comes and saying, "Yo, Gio, you have knowledge, you have good qualities, and I'm going to start you off with 60 grand a year." So you're getting paid what you're worth, and that's what social is. Not these people are paying you what they think should be your pay. So here you are, you're making $10,000, you're making $10 an hour, and this asshole is getting $20 million a year. Wow, you're giving me $60,000 because that's what you think that I'm worth, and I guarantee you that that's going to work more than the person that's making $10 an hour.
Right. So I'm gonna read this for the people that's out there. The main difference is that socialism is compatible with democracy and liberty, whereas communism involves creating an equal society through an authoritarian states, which denies basic liberties. Democratic socialism in the West involves participating in democracy to seek an incremental reduction in inequality. First of all, what's wrong with that is we don't want incrementalism. Okay, that's the problem when you have progressives. The second thing, when you're talking about socialism, bro, you don't fix your own roads. You don't pay for your ambulance. You don't pay to you understand what I'm saying? You don't have a separate police force than everybody. So you're already involved in socialistic entities at this point in time. And these dummies are making people believe that if everybody has health care, it's going to be a problem. But this goes to the core of white supremacy. I don't want you to be happy and well, Gio, because then you're going to be equal to me. And nobody in this country wants that. Let's be clear about certain things. This country wants to have a slave population because it started that way. They couldn't do it to the Native Americans. Why? You can't enslave somebody on their own land. You can't enslave somebody that knows who they are. Okay? So what did you do? You tried to bring other people over here, but it was like, nah, we're not having that. So you went and got Africans, stripped them of their names, stripped them of their language, stripped them of everything. So all they had was to depend on you, and you gave them their identity. So what are you talking about? And let's be clear. I'm going to be totally candid. If there's any Black people out there watching, we are on tap to be a permanent second-class ethnicity. Point simple. By 2050, if we keep going the way we're going, we will be a permanent underclass. Period. And now you have middleman minorities, which includes Asians, Latinx, Hispanics, and Middle Eastern people that are more than willing to be the white supremacists and be the middleman minorities. You can look in any Black neighborhood and see that going on. What say you, sir?
What?
I said, what say you about what I just said?
No, you're absolutely correct. I mean, I would never subject myself to that. I would never go on that route because I know what it is. And at the end of the day, like you said, the point here is that if we all don't stick together, we ain't gonna go nowhere. I saw a shirt today, and I think I should buy it tomorrow, whenever. That says, "If you don't hustle, you stay broke." And
but you're gonna stay.
If you don't fight for what you believe in, then nothing's gonna happen. If you let these people keep stepping at you, if you keep actually believing the narrative that there's no disparity in this country, that Blacks are not treated differently, that most of the jails are overpopulated with Black people, if you believe that narrative, then you're stupid. You really are. If you believe all this, I mean, it's getting to the point which is ridiculous. You know.
Well, I thought it was Nathan Hale, but Benjamin Franklin basically he said it. He said, "If we don't hang together, we shall surely hang separately." And what's going to happen? What's going to happen is if you made every Black person disappear today, do you think this country would be a panacea for everybody? It would be nirvana. Is that what you think?
Did you see the video that I put? There was this guy as a comedian that he was talking about how he went to a restaurant and he was talking some stuff like that, and the white lady said, these Mexicans, they should go back to their country because blah this and blah, and the guy said, and who do you think is going to do? Who do you think is going to feed the crops? Who's going to do this? It ain't white people. White people are going to do that because if they do that, they start unionizing. And if you think that you're going to get another black person to go back to where he came from, you're sadly wrong.
But you know what? They showed that because once they started doing the hard immigration, those farmers who were using and abusing those undocumented immigrants, right, said, "Hey, we can't pick none of the fruit or do the crops or whatever because white people are not about to do this." We know that. Remember, there was a shortage like a couple of years ago because it was like, do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
There was a shortage every other day of something because they didn't have the workers. But the issue is that when they raid these chicken farms, they raid these farms, these crop farms, they criminalize the people, the desperate people versus the guy that's using them. That's the problem. Like when we were in Mississippi, right? Believe it or not, we were in Mississippi. I thought this was so freaking horrible and vicious. They raided a chicken plant, right? And raided the chicken plant when the kids were in school. So when the kids came home from school, their parents wasn't there, right? But the reason why they were raided was because the owner of the chicken plant was under investigation for sexual harassment. So he said, "Oh, okay, bet. You want to put me up for sexual harassment? I'm going to get you deported." And that is what he did. Did he suffer any jail time? Did he suffer anything to his plant go down? Nothing. All he did was got some more desperate, undocumented immigrants to fill those slots. And then when COVID came around, guess what he did? They incentivized those desperate people to continue to come to work with COVID.
Yeah, I read. I saw that in the news, and he knew about it, and they still did the same thing. They had people who had COVID, and they knew about it, and they still let them work.
They still and they even the at one plant they were betting on how many of the people would get COVID.
Oh my God!
This is the people that we're talking about. These wicked, soulless, shallow things that they are. So until we understand the power of the people is more powerful than the people in power, we're gonna be right here talking this bull crap in the next 20 years.
We the people.
But that's what I'm saying. The same thing that we're talking about right now, Fred Hampton talked about. Where's Fred Hampton now, Gio? Dead.
Never heard of Fred Hampton use that.
Did you just say you never heard of Fred Hampton? Okay, I'm not even.
Indulge me. I don't have it.
Fred Hampton was the Black Panther Party. They just had a movie about it. Judas.
I don't know too much about the Black Panther, but Tupac. Let me stop. I don't know too much about the Black Panther. I know there was a movement from the 70s fighting for the rights. I know that, but how it started and all that, I've never read up on that.
So, all I'm gonna tell you is read up on Fred Hampton. Okay, read up on Bobby Seale. Read up on Huey P. Newton. Okay. Read up on those people. And what Fred Hampton was able to do was get the Chicano movement. He was able to get the Yellow Peril. He was able to get white supremacist groups to be like, yo, we're poor just like you, and we're fighting the power too. They're telling us that the reason why we're poor is because of you. when we're poor and you're poor because of those dudes. So they had to kill him. So they got a black dude to drug him. And while he was sleeping in his bed with his pregnant girlfriend, the cops came in and shot him dead in his bed. And it was I forget what the other gentleman's name was, but shot the both of them in the house. The black guy actually gave them, the FBI, the CIA, the blueprints to his house.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So the reason why I want you to know these people is not because I want to name drop, but because the fact of the matter is that the things that we're talking about right now with Cesar Chavez, Martin Luther King, Frederick Douglass, they all saw that, hey, we can't do this alone. So when they were doing the Chinese Exclusion Acts, when they did the Wetback Act, and that's not me being funny with a racial slur. That's literally what it was called, the Wetback Act.
I heard of Wetback, but I never heard of the Wetback Act.
Look it up. Look it up. The Wetback Act. And that's what they called Hispanics and Latinx people. And it was all of these things against Asians and Hispanics. So everything that we're going through right now is nothing new. It's nothing new under the sun. We just haven't learned the lesson. That's why we keep having to go through this. So what else is there to say?
It says the Wetback Act, Operation Wetback, was an immigration law enforcement initiative created by Joseph Swing, the Director of the United States Immigration and Naturalization, in cooperation with the Mexican government. The program was implemented in June. It was by extending, well, it says here, Operation Wetback was over, and it said it deported mass deportation of Mexican nationals, 1.1 people, according to the immigration. Most estimated figure called closer to 300,000. So this is where they send these people back to Mexico?
Yes. Yes. And one of the reasons, I'm sorry?
For no apparent reason.
No. And that's the thing. When you had Cesar Chavez and he was trying to organize, the fact of the matter is you have a situation where you have desperate people and they're like, whoa, I need to feed my family. Am I going to feed my family? Am I going to protest? You know what I'm saying? So now you have a situation. Are you going to support these people and give them mutual aid? That's where the issue comes from. Are we giving mutual aid? Because once they get done with black people, who do you think is next? Do you honestly think that Hispanics are the largest growing well, they're not really an ethnicity because they don't consider.
Yeah, but we have a problem. We see that's where we have a conflict.
No. I don't have a conflict with that.
No, I do because yeah. But I would say as a Hispanic, I do because as a Hispanic, I've seen how some Hispanic do this. Instead of doing this, they separate. So what they do is that they look towards what it's better for them, not what's better for the whole. Instead of saying, you know what, if I'm fighting for a whole, I'm fighting together. But if I do this amount, it's just for me, and I've seen that a lot, and that's why I don't like. You don't see a Hispanic movement like you do Black Lives Matter. You don't see that. You don't see us going to rallies. You don't see that. You see a few, but you don't see it like in the numbers of the Black Panthers. If you see a Hispanic, that Hispanic is probably going because that person believes in it, or that person just wants to be a part of the crew, wants to be seen, wants to get a 15 minutes of fame or whatever the case may be. But we're not as strong, and I can say this, and it gets me mad because it's true. We're not as strong as there is as the Black communities when it comes to protesting. Because if we protested for every killing, if we were in every protest that was for Black Lives Matter, if we did our own protesting and we did that all together, I guarantee you that some of this would subside.
Yes.
But we don't stick around like that, and that's what gets me mad. When I saw a video about this kid in Las Vegas 2 years ago, he was in a Black Panther rally. He was going to his car when he was finished. They stopped him. They shot him beanbags, so he ran. And as he ran, when he ran, he crossed the street. Right when he crossed the street, he got shot in the back like 5 times and got killed. Did you see the Hispanic community go out there in droves? No, you did not. You probably saw 10 to 20 people outside the courthouse. But to them, that's nothing. If the whole Hispanic community in Las Vegas and from California and from other came over and
they would shut it down. They would shut it down. Shut it down. But you know what? But this is what I will say. I've seen situations where, like, for instance, it was a teacher, right? That the kids were in school and they were speaking Spanish, right? And the teacher told them, "Oh, don't speak Spanish in class." Every one of them students got up and left. Got up and left. It was like, we're done. We're done here.
The other day, my son works at McDonald's, right? And something happened when he didn't take lunch or whatever the case may be. Or no, he said that they didn't give me lunch. So I spoke. So I said, so the general manager called me up and said, "Well, you know what? I spoke to the other Hispanic co-workers and they told me they didn't take it." I said, wait. Why are you mentioning Hispanic? Oh, because the other workers they speak Spanish. I said, wait. You don't need to say Hispanics. All you have to say is, I spoke to his co-workers. That's all you have to say. This is when you start racism. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." No, just don't say that. And then she said, "Oh, his other co-workers, blah, blah." And I said, "Why did you have to even start that with Hispanic? What does that have to do with anything? Can you just call me and say, listen, we gave your son," I spoke to his other co-workers, and his co-workers said that they did give him a lunch break, but he didn't take it. That's all you have to say. You don't have to mention Hispanic. You don't have to say
He was talking to you or your son when he said that?
What?
They was talking to you?
Well, they're talking to my son. She called me.
They was talking to your son.
Yeah, no, but what happened was that my son came to me and said, "Yo, Dad, they didn't give me my lunch break today." So when I text the manager, I said, "Listen, my son didn't take a lunch break. You guys didn't give him a lunch break." Then the general manager, the district manager, called me up and said, "Listen, I spoke to the Hispanic to his Hispanic workers, and they said that he didn't take that they told him about the lunch break."
Wow.
I said, "Wait, what do you mean Hispanic? Why can't you just say co-workers? Do you have to go there? Why didn't you just say Hispanic like that? I just meant other people speak Spanish." I said, "Yeah, but you don't have to go there. All you have to say you spoke to his co-workers. That's it." And then I told her, this is where racism comes in. All you have to say is co-workers. "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." I said, "No, it's already said. When you're saying co-workers, that's it." That's like when I was working at McDonald's in Florida. This lady, I was working, I was hungry, so I took a hamburger, I put it in my mouth, and I ate it. That bitch told me, "Use people always doing this." I said, "What did you say?"
Use people.
Yeah, she said use people. I took off my apron, I left it there, and I went home. The following day, the owner called me and said, "Listen, you, I do apologize for her. I want you to come back to work." I said, "I'm not going to go back to work." I said, "That's a racist bitch." I said, I told him, "Listen, let me tell you something. You are lucky that I don't keep you at McDonald's. Just let's leave it at that. That little word, use people? What's wrong with you?"
I mean, like I said, this is the thing. This is the last gasp of white supremacy. So what you're seeing right now is the last remnants of white power. So what they're going to do is think about when emancipation came around, right? A lot of people think when emancipation came around, everybody was just like free roaming around, doing a Harlem shuffle. You know what I'm saying? That's not what happened. You know what happened? They told them to stay and work, and a lot of black people stayed on those plantations. A lot of people was like, "Hell, I'm getting the fuck up out of here." But some people were killing their enslaved people because they rather them dead than them free walking around. So this is what I'm saying. Nothing under the sun is new, and this is why you have. Okay, first of all, what
Adam that shines not gold,
huh?
And everything that shines not gold,
right? Adam Toledo. Let's talk about that, right? The fact of the matter is, I don't care what ethnicity he was. It was a 13-year-old child. So let's talk about layers of things that went wrong with that. So now you got people focusing on not that he was shot by a cop, not that part. Well, he was out till 2:30 in the morning. I don't give a fuck if it was 4 o'clock in the morning. I really don't. You shot a 13-year-old child after you gave him commands. The same way you shot Philando Castile after you gave him commands. Okay? A lot of times, but I seen this one black guy, the cop told him to go in his car and get his license. He went in his car to get his license and the cop shot him.
Was that the Chinese guy that shot him?
No. Philando Castile. Wait a minute. Hold up. You see how ridiculous that just sounded to me? And I was like, wait a minute. Hold up. You know what I'm saying? That's how many shootings. That's how many shootings, because I can't tell you which one. Which one I'm talking about, the cop was white in this particular. Now, if there was an Asian cop that shot Aki Gurley in New York, he shot in a building and it ricocheted and it killed him. And guess what the Asians did? Their issue was, well, white cops get to shoot black people. Why are you gonna hold him culpable when you don't hold white cops? True story. Look it up.
That's no. The one that I was talking about, it was an Asian cop. It was the black guy, his girlfriend, and a baby in the back.
That's Philando Castile.
That's what, and he did say that he had a weapon, but it wasn't, and he had a license. And he said, "Go get it." And when he got him, that's when he shot him. He said, "Oh, but I was nervous. Come on, you just gave the guy a command to go get his license, and you go shoot him."
Right.
It's the same thing with that kid, with the guy in Washington, in Virginia, that happened a year ago with the army guy.
Right.
After he did everything, he complied with everything, and you still pepper sprayed him.
But what you got to think about it, what upset the guy, if you from listening to the tape, he was mad that the black guy, because he was actually black, he's biracial, he's black and Latino. He got mad because the guy was a second lieutenant and he got kicked out as a private. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. So
yes.
So the cop was mad because of that?
Yes, because he told him, he was like, I'm a second lieutenant. And he was like, oh, yeah, I got kicked out when I was a private. Because you're trash. You're trash. And this thing I think his name is, baby, look his name up, please.
So he couldn't make it in the armed forces.
No, he couldn't.
Started to get a gun in the back to become that emasculated him more.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of times, you know how many black soldiers were lynched in their uniforms? Trust me, there was a couple of years ago, there was this pregnant black female, and this white lady just attacked her. They were at a restaurant, and she attacked her. So the thing about it is what we're talking about right now is ridiculous. And you know what's so funny? Guess what his last name is? Guess.
Which one? The one from Virginia?
Yes.
I don't know.
Gutierrez.
I told you.
Joe Gutierrez.
It's like when you see a white person with a black last name and they go against black people. I'm like, listen, you have a black last name. Where do you think you got the name from? Someone in your family's black, right? And you're going against black people. Look, we're talking about the emancipation about that, and a lot of people say Lincoln, but to me, this is my belief. The only reason Lincoln did that emancipation is because I believe that Lincoln is half black.
Well, he wasn't half black. What he was, if you go by the 1% rule, right? I mean, 1 drop rule. 1 drop of blood makes you black, right? So he had like a great grandmother or a great great grandmother that was black. So when you're going by the 1 drop rule, yeah, he was black. Now, again, there's a lot of people that, have biracial and mixed ethnicities and blood and, whatever. But the simple fact of the matter is that when the one drop rule comes into play, they use it sometimes for the betterment, and it's self-serving. So now that doesn't apply because there's actually been 5 presidents. It's 5, right, babe? 5 presidents that were, if you looked at the one drop rule, they would be considered black.
Well, you have to know that some of these presidents were blacks because they have slaves. So some of them had to be blacks. I mean, not all, but that's that's true. But it's just incredible. It's just like when a white person says, "I'm not a racist. I have black friends." What does that got to do with it? Oh, I'm not homophobic. My friends are gay. What does that have to do with it? That makes no sense. But it just shocks me at the ignorance that what people say and do. But you're not a racist because you have black friends.
Can I say this to you? So just recently that just happened, right? So is this if you go to our Black Lives Matter page, right? It's this woman, I speak not of her name, right? But she showed up to a Black Lives Matter Mississippi dressed up like Nazi Barbie. She had a knife, she had a flak vest, which the army doesn't even use anymore, some tight jeans, and some cowboy boots. She, you know how like Laura Croft have the knife on her leg and stuff. So once we called her out about it because she has a business where they sell ammo and guns, of course. And she put up all of these signs saying, if you voted for Biden, we don't want your business. Now, mind you, I can give a goddamn about Joe Biden and how you feel about it. But you put that up and somebody sent that to us. So we made a point of, hey, this is where you're shopping at. This is what they got going on. So she tried to make this thing, I'm not racist. But I said, wasn't that you tried to approach me at a peaceful rally with elderly people and kids? And I told you to back up from me. We got pictures of you, Becky. We got pictures of you. We take pictures of everybody. And she was there protecting a Confederate monument. So to prove that she wasn't black, she put a picture up of her and some random black guy.
Why would I be racist? My customers are black. I got black customers. I'm not racist. I just don't like Joe Biden.
Thomas Jefferson slept with Sally Hemings. She was like 13 years old, and she was his wife's half sister. So what are you talking about? The only reason why her children were freed is because she went to France with him, and she said that I will not come back to France with you unless you free our children. That's what happened. So this love affair that they're talking about that they had, there was no love affair. She was his property. He raped her. She didn't have a choice.
There was a lot. Back in those days, there was a lot of rapes.
And so then you have the situation where rape is a tactic of war. And I'm going to tell you why. So when you have a situation like that, right? Now you have these biracial children walking around, right? So now your family right now. So you remember how I told you a lot of those enslaved people didn't leave? It's because now they were connected by family. And when you're connected by family, you're a little bit less to go and slit their throats at this point in time.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, that wasn't afforded to us. But I'm telling you, with black people, it's like, well, they family, but like, nah, dude, no, they're not family. So, I mean, that's what complicated a lot of the situations like that.
At the end of the day, some people say it is what it is.
It is what it is at this point in time. But the thing about it did you know that we had 2 black men that was shot up here in Maryland?
I didn't know.
They were shot by an off-duty. Pentagon police officer who thought that they was breaking into their own car. He lied and then said they tried to hit him with the car, but he shot them as they were driving away.
But didn't you see the one 2 years ago in Maryland also, where these two white officers told the black guy to stop? He kept on running with his car, right? So finally he did stop. They told him to get on the ground. He got on the ground, and we got on his ground. And he put his hand up. That motherfucker drop kicked him, knocked him out.
Yes, I seen that.
And the cops were found not guilty. You be like, I mean, what the hell? I mean, okay, he made you run, but that doesn't give you the right to kick him in the face. That gets me mad. That I sometimes say to myself, if that situation was to arise for me, God for me that it doesn't, I would go after the cop. I wouldn't go after any other cop. I'll go after him.
And you would probably be dead. And then what would happen is
I'll probably be dead by other cops, but I'll take him with me.
No. What I'm saying is,
it gets to a point. You know, you had never been in jail, but I have, and I've seen black guys come in jail with faces like this.
Yes.
They tell the judges that was his doing. You think the judge gives a fuck? Do you think the judge told them to do an investigation? No. There comes the word phrase. It is what it is. Because that's what it is. Now you turn out right now. Here it comes. A cop slaps me. I gotta stay here. I slap the cop back. It's an assault.
I mean, okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is that death is better than bondage. But how many people are willing to say that and do that? For me, death is better than bondage. Point blank and simple.
If it has to come down to that, then you gotta do what you gotta do. Because I'm not gonna let no one disrespect me that way. I mean, if you're out there, you're big and bold because you got a badge and you're gonna slap me around, you think that's gonna stay cool with me? I don't give a fuck. I don't need to sue the city. I don't want your money. That's not gonna do nothing to me.
I get what you're saying. What I'm trying to tell you is that in many ways they have killed off our warrior class. And the parts that they didn't kill, they exiled them or they put them in jail for their entire lives. And so a lot of people, it's just like the Willie Lynch letter. They're like, well, I don't want to end up like that. So I'm going to act like.
Didn't you see the other day in Minnesota, the old man that went into the store, they denied him service because he wasn't wearing a mask. The cops came to him. He hit a cop with a hammer on the head. He ran off in his car, and the cop was
the white dude. Yes.
The white dude. Did he get shot?
Nope.
He didn't get shot. That would have been a black person.
So, did you see the white dude in the car that threatened to shoot the cop dog, the K9?
No.
I'm gonna send that to you. It's a video of this dude, and from what they're saying, that he was either a former cop or he was a cop, but he threatened. He had a gun in his hand. They said, we're gonna send the dogs, and you know what he said? And I'll shoot your dog. This is a double blue, true story, yo. But we know, but this is the thing, Gio. We know what it is, and we'll look at that and say, if that person was black, they be dead.
Oh, hell yeah.
They be dead. But you're gonna still have white people and say, well, those cops did the right thing. See, there are good cops out there. That's what I'm saying. There's no reason to even talk about it anymore. I don't talk to white people about anything anymore. For me, it's a waste of time. It's a waste.
Sometimes there's no point in that.
There's no point in it, and I'm not
what you say, they have this their perception, and no matter what you do, they have their ways, and they don't look how many people still voted for Trump, and this is a man that he says. Now listen to this. This is a man in his campaign show. He said, "I love uneducated people."
Yeah.
What is he telling me? I love them because they're not educated, and I can tell them whatever I want to say, and they'll believe me.
But this is the thing. I just sent you something again too. I want you to watch it. It's kind of long, so don't watch it right now. But I want you to watch it, where that dude literally. They were begging him, please just get out the car. We don't want to do this. So let's talk about the things that's going on. You got Durante Wright. The fact of the matter is that what they're going to use is the white feminine. She was nervous. She didn't know. And they're going to use a sexist angle of it. You understand what I mean? Now, you had a black woman. She fought for 10 years to get her pension because her white colleague had a black man in a chokehold and was about to kill him. Huh?
So I think I read that was the one that was in upstate New York.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. The good cops are either murdered or fired. Period. Like I don't know if you remember it, but it was a scene where it was protesters, right? And it was a female protester. She was on her knee. The white cop came and kicked her. And the black chief was like, get out of here. You know, they suspended her, not the white cop that kicked that white woman.
That was like, you ever seen the movie Serpico?
Yes.
That was a good movie.
I seen Serpico. Like I said, it happened.
And look what happened to him trying to do the right thing.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You have a situation where it's like these are like they even say the gangs in New York, like the NYPD is the gang of New York. LAPD is a gang. They're nothing but gangs. And let's be clear, it's a multiracial, multi-generational, multi-gender, and multi-sex gang. White supremacy is the only gang that everybody can join. Period.
That's true.
That's the only one.
They'll take anyone as long as you go with their agenda.
As long as you go with their agenda.
They don't care if you're Chinese, black. They don't care. Come on, you're more than welcome.
Because this is the thing, right? So today I was having a conversation, right, on Twitter. Why? So they're talking about all these Asian hate crimes, right? And they're talking about how Biden, you know, Biden sent out this executive order where $49.5 million goes to the Asian community about domestic violence and language barriers. Now, Kamala Harris said explicitly, I am not going to do anything specifically for Black people. She said that on tape, right? So now you got these people that are saying, oh, Black people, y'all need to come help us. Bullshit. Not me. Not because I don't believe that racism is a thing. But let me tell you something. How many Black women and kids were beat up in these Asian nail shops? Beat up. I
saw this other day where a 16-year-old went to a Chinese shop, and the Chinese guy said that he was stealing from her. He locked the door, he choked the shit out of her and punched her. And she was 16 years old.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck?
Right. One of the riots.
Then you have someone recorded, and then you don't record that. You just slap the shit out of the Chinese guy and get it on with. I mean, come on, you got to defend your own people. You just don't. It doesn't make any sense. It's true. You go to a lot of these Chinese places, and a lot of Black people get accused by the Chinese, but they don't say anything.
And this is the thing, Latasha Harlins was in a store. I'm pretty sure the nationality of the woman was Korean. And she killed that girl, shot her in the back of the head because she thought she was stealing a bottle of orange juice. So
that constitutes for us a bottle of orange juice.
Bottle of orange juice constitutes you shooting this child in the back of the head. Okay, now let's not talk about all the other things. I still remember being followed in an Asian store.
That's what I was about to tell you.
Yeah, followed in a store in my uniform. No, in my uniform. Not followed around because I had regular clothes on, but in my uniform. So you really think now?
To this day, you go to an Asian store and they'll look at you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To this day.
Exactly. Like I had to tell one of them, I was like, I could buy you in this store right now. Are you stupid? So what I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. On a micro level, I have very ardent Asian supporters. But on a macro level, I'm not putting my cape on for that. Y'all need to deal with that yourself. Just like y'all ignore what's going on and think nothing is happening, guess what? Welcome to the club, buddy. Welcome to the club.
Have an organization to do Chinese Lives Matter and go from there, or Asian Lives Matter.
Start your thing. Asian Lives Matter. But why are Black people required to fight for everybody? We're required to fight for. And let me be clear about what I'm saying. Saying when it's not reciprocated. Okay? We're supposed to fight for women, white feminists. But when it comes to Black Lives Matter, we you voted for Trump though, but now you want us to roll up and help you. Nope, it's not going to happen. You want us to fight for LGBTQ rights, but most of those people that are in those higher ups are white and discriminate against Black trans people, specifically Black trans women. So what? Marsha P. Johnson.
I'm against anything that's LGBT against that. I'm against anything that is against that. I'm against anything that takes the right away from people. Anything.
Me too. What I'm saying, but you understand what I'm saying to you?
I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then the sad part about it is that when you mix the politics into this, and they say, when they say, a marriage was created into a man and a woman, and blah this and blah that. Whoever said that? If you want to look into the realms that say, and the Bible, where there's nowhere in the Bible does it say that marriage was made for a man and a woman. God gave Eve just to have a partner to procreate, but there's nowhere in the Bible that says that marriage, that you have to be married in order for God to accept you. Nowhere in the Bible does it says, the only thing that it says adultery and stuff like that, but the Bible doesn't specifically say in order for you to be accepted with Jesus, you have to be married, or you have to have for you to have kids. You have to consummate your relationship. No, it doesn't say that. But anything that the Bible says, the Bible does says that if you're not married, stay single. The one thing that the Bible says, it doesn't say.
I think that was Apostle Paul. It was either Paul. I think it was Paul that he was don't even get married. No, yeah. It was. I think it was Paul that said, don't even get married. That's what he said. He said,
and also say, if you're not married, stay single.
He said that. He said that.
When the Catholic says, "Oh, it's against the law to have to have sex outside the marriage," no, the Bible does not say that. The Bible says, "Do not have sexual immorality." That's what it says. It doesn't mention anything about. If you have sex before marriage, that's a sin. No, it doesn't say that. It says sexual immorality. Whatever sexual immorality means, it wasn't specific. It's like I'm gonna give you for example. Whenever you see a religious person that tells you that the Bible says that homosexuals will not enter the kingdom of heaven because the Bible says so, they're wrong. Because when they meant to say no homosexuals are going to enter the kingdom of heaven, they're not talking about. They were talking about. Do you remember when in Sodom and Gomorrah, when the angels came, and when the angels came down and said, "Let us have our ways with those men," because those men in there, they were getting drunk and they were having sex. Men were having sex with men. That right there. When two straight people are having sex, that's not normal. Now, if two people who are born gay, that's the way they feel, that's totally different. So that's where the word homosexuality came from. That it's not normal for two men who are straight men who feel great attraction for women go out of nowhere and they just desire to have sex. That's
Can
not
I just
normal.
say this?
That's when the word homosexuality came from. It doesn't say that if you two guys and you like each other and you want to be together, that's not what it's meant for.
Can I say this? People can just mind their damn business.
That's true.
How about
that's
that? This is the thing. Minding your business is free, right? I don't know what you're doing in your bed with your partner. You don't know what I'm doing in my bed with my partner, right? And the way I look at it is this, right? Let's be clear about what I'm saying, right? Because I want to finish my point about what I was saying earlier. Black people on a macro level are always caping for or required to cape for people that will not cape for us. Period. Okay? What I'm saying is that until that is reciprocated, this is not my fight. I hated the fact what they were doing at the borders to those, our brown brothers and sisters. But let's be clear. There were Black immigrants, undocumented immigrants too, looking for asylum. No, but they wouldn't even let them into Mexico. Did you know that?
See, this is a good thing about going from different newscasts to newscasts. I saw ABC made a report, and they made a report 3 weeks ago that you have immigrants from other countries. You even had Haitians.
Yes, Haitians. And they shipped them back.
Getting from Haiti, and they were in the Tijuana border for over a year. Over a year, they've been there. So it's not just Central America. It's other people from other countries who are staying there, and you just can't say, oh, this is from the Biden administration. No, this is coming from before Biden.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So you got African immigrants too.
This shit is new.
Right. You got African immigrants coming in, right? And they're not even letting them get to the border. They're like, oh, you're not even coming here. So
they have a camp.
Yes.
They have a camp. They make camps out there. I've seen people there for 2 years.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
So what you were talking about, it was the Apostle Paul. It's 1 Corinthians 7, 7 through 8. And it says, I wish that all were as I myself am. But each has his own special gift from God, one of one kind and one of another. To the unmarried and the widows, I say that it is well for them to remain single as I do.
And that's his thought. That's not something that God said. That's just his thought.
His thought.
And to put it in more retrospect of what you said before, mind your own business. It's the same thing as when Jesus said, don't judge others. That's not your job.
Mind your business. Mind your business.
Even if you can even Google it up, or you can look in the Bible. The Bible does tell you that you have to mind your business.
Mind your business.
Mind your business. Don't worry about. It's like saying, you remember the Bible, it says, give what Caesar belongs to Caesar and give what God belongs to God. That's simple as that. Mind your own business. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't worry about what he's doing. If it doesn't affect you, don't worry about it. Let everybody live their life. If two men want to sleep together, that's their decision. If two girls want to sleep together, that's their decision. It's kind of because of my religion. The fuck that. You're grown.
But this is the thing. It says, Jesus said that take the plank out of thine own eye before you take the splinter out of your brother's. Mind your business. Mind your business.
Mind your business.
And this is
those without sin cast the first stone.
Mind your business.
So this is here you are, Catholic or Protestant, whatever the case may be, and you're judging people on their sexuality, and then you're judging them on sexuality. But here you are reading the Bible, and it tells you mind your business. Don't judge
them. About it is you still going
your own life before you take your pregnant your brothers.
You still going to mass, right? You still going to mass. I'm just saying, people are still going to mass. Now you seen the Catholic priests raping these little boys. That didn't stop you from going to mass.
Something that you may not know, but Do you know why John Paul the Pope, he got out of office? He got out of the populism.
No. Was it because of that? Was it?
Yes.
It was because of that. I remember that.
There were pictures. They had pictures and videos of him in orgies with boys and with women. So before they came out to light, he decided to say, "I'm retired." That's something that's a life that's a lifetime thing. But they don't see that, you know. And then you have all these Catholics that say, you know, we don't these pedophiles. I hate pedophiles too. But you guys were the ones that started this whole big thing covering your priest. Whenever a priest raped the kid, instead of sending them to the cops, giving them to the cops, no, you took them out of this church and you put them in this church. All right. So what do you do?
But that ain't stopping nobody from going to mass.
I know,
right?
And the other thing that they don't see is that the Catholic people, if you see the Catholic Church, they created these pedophiles because you're not allowing them to get married, and most of these kids, to them, the priest is like a father figure. So why are they surrounded by kids? That's all they see is kids.
But wait a minute. This is what I'm saying. Hold up. I'm a push back on that one. Just because you're not having sex does not give you the sexual proclivity to mess with a child.
I know that, but they don't see that way.
Like, nah, I don't agree with it. What I'm gonna say
maybe they see I can take advantage, but something triggers their mind.
I just don't.
For you to have that thought. Here you are having a thought of God, and he have a thought of having sex with a child. That just doesn't compete with him.
But that's what I'm saying. Just because you're not having sex doesn't make you, just like a lot of times they'll say, oh, I don't want transgender in the bathroom with my kids, or I don't want gay people. But wait a minute. They were in the there was 99% of sexual assaults are not committed by LGBTQ+. It's by supposed heterosexual men. So those men were in the bathroom before and you didn't say anything. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about right now? But like I said, with that situation, you know why I stay away from that is because, like I tell people, believe what you want to believe, but don't come to me with this a la carte morality, this buffet style outrage because of this particular thing. Were you outraged when those priests were raping little boys? Were you outraged when those priests were raping girls in school and killing nuns? It's documented fact that a couple of nuns were killed to cover up the sexual assault of young girls. So what I'm saying is, you're so upset about this. That didn't stop you from going to mass. That didn't stop you from loving your priest or whatever. So come on, man.
I got you. That's why I stay away from religion.
Like, come on, bro. And let's not talking about. I'm gonna talk about the black church too, because listen. I've been to enough black churches to see the choir director, all of them. You know what the deal is, but you still in there, but then you'll deny them people and say that they're going to go to hell. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Like you can't just do stuff like that and think you're going to come out of it unscathed or anything like that. And this is my thing, like the situation with Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz was paying 17-year-old girls to fly with him and have sex with him and drug parties and all of these things. But remember, y'all the party of morality and all of these things. And, this is how it should be and yada, yada, this and the third. You just had another dude that was cheating on his wife. They got him on tape. Cheating on his wife. He was like, oh, how dare y'all think this of me? A tape came out the same time he said that. He came right back and said, oh, yeah, well, I did have a relationship with her and that wasn't bad. That was bad.
Well, you knew it was bad. You just saying bad because you got caught. That's when Rudy Giuliani got caught in the movie Barrack 2. The prostitute took him to the hotel. Wow, you're supposed to be this moral standard guy. You're supposed to be the leader, and here you are in a room with a prostitute.
Well, she wasn't a prostitute. She wasn't a prostitute. What this is, you talking about Borat. She wasn't a prostitute. Well, that wasn't the thing she was playing. What it was that she was supposed to be interviewing him. But let's be clear about who Rudy Giuliani is. Rudy Giuliani is a disgusting, racist man. The only reason why Giuliani's image was revamped was because of 9/11. Prior to that, that's the stop and frisk dude. Everybody hated Giuliani in New York. So, like I said, that's bullshit. He was never America's mayor. Okay. The second thing is he cheated on his wife and then married his cousin or something like that.
Like Woody Allen, he married his adopted daughter.
But Woody Allen's still walking around here making movies and shit.
And money, and people still go back. And people still, white people, I never seen a Woody Allen movie. I don't like Woody Allen. I never thought he was funny. And when I saw that shit that he married his own adopted daughter, that he was in Broke.
Like I said, he. First of all, the fact of the matter is that, come on, man. Like, come on, man. Like, you want to pick and choose what you want to be outraged about. Like I said, it says Rudy's week has gone from bad to screwing your cousin for 14 years. I'm gonna send this to you. Listen, I'm gonna read it to you. That's why when they be talking about Giuliani, I'm like, the dude slept with his cousin. So what are you talking about right about now? Like, this dude is trash. Like, trash on trash on trash. But what happens is they cover it up. Like I said, I don't support R. Kelly at all. And I don't support what's his name? Bill Cosby. But come on now. Let's round everybody up. Let's round all.
Okay, R. Kelly has this thing. I never liked R. Kelly anyway. He got a good voice, but when I found out that that's what he likes. But let me ask you something. The Bill Cosby thing. Why did it take so long for these women to come out?
Well, first of all, you don't know how different people deal with sexual assault, right? Then the second thing you got to think about is when you have a person that has money and prestige, the fact of the matter is that you don't know how it's going to go. Then you got to think about it that America has a rape culture, right? So when women are assaulted, when kids are assaulted, when specifically men are assaulted, they are shamed. You're shamed. So why would I come out and tell anybody anything? Like, what's her name? The one that messed with Clinton?
Monica Lewinsky?
Yes. She couldn't get a job. She didn't have any way to take care of herself. But he was still president. You understand what I'm saying? And got elected another term. So him and his wife are still making deals, and his wife attacked all the women that he slept with or sexually assaulted or harassed. So would you really come out? I mean, let's be clear about that. We have a rape culture, and the rape culture applauds the rapist, not the victim.
That's true. That's like when you go to these Muslim countries and the women get raped, they get the lashes, not the men.
Where that's a punishment that you did something, you as the man, father, uncle, whatever, you did something, but the punishment is that your female family member gets raped. How, Sway? How is that a thing? Now she has a stigma on her because of something you did. That's crazy. And I see somebody said 12 Veil said Woody Allen Woody Allen is Hollywood. Americans love their actors. Yes, 12. He said, yes, 12 Hollywood. Oh,
it's true. But I give you another example. Look at this guy Epstein. Epstein's another perv, and everybody was in Epstein. So Clinton, Donald Trump, everybody was there. They weren't there. They weren't there because they wanted to see an island.
But what I'm saying is, let's be clear about something. There are weirdos on both sides.
I know that.
Why? Ed Buck loved getting black and brown men, overdosing them. They died. Ed Buck had a dead man in his apartment and was bringing another one. He's had like 3 people die with him.
And he's still out.
You said what?
And he's out roaming free.
Yeah, he's out roaming the streets. That's what I'm saying. So when we're talking about things, he's a Democratic donor. So what happens is now it's, we have this moral high ground. No, you don't. Ed Buck is trash. Ed Buck is trash. And this person said about the Jodie Foster movie, let me put this in perspective for you, right? When I was in the military, at one point in time, they said sexual assault for female soldiers was occupational hazard. Why would they put something down as an occupational hazard? Because it was happening so frequently. Did you know just recently they named the main gate on Fort Hood after Vanessa Gillian, the Hispanic child. She was like 19, 20 years old, who they killed her in an arms room and I think chopped her body up and set it on fire. Wow. Do you remember that?
I don't know. There was somebody else.
So this happened about a year ago. Vanessa Gilliam, right? She was in an arms room. She disappeared. Nobody knew where she was at, and they found her remains and stuff like that. They charged a black guy and a white woman, right? But I think the black guy killed himself or something like that. But they named a gate after her. Okay, let's talk about all the other women that were murdered. Lavina Johnson. Lavina Johnson was deployed, right? Lavina Johnson look her story up, the Lavina Johnson story. She was deployed. Whoever did it, she was in a contractor's tent. They tried to burn the tent down. They shot her, they raped her, shot her in the head, threw acid on her genitalia, beat her up. And then the Army said to her family she committed suicide with an M16.
Wow, and M16 did all that, huh? I thought since when does M16 puts acid in genitalia, beats you up before it explodes? I never knew that.
And they said that so they said she could. It's this movie called The Invisible War. I want you to watch that movie. That movie is horrible to watch, but they show you the men and the women that have been sexually assaulted in the military. And one particular case, the woman was sexually assaulted by her commander. He was married. Don't you know they said if she was going to press charges on him, they was going to charge her with adultery? How? How, Sway? She wasn't married. He was married. But he actually got promoted.
So they're trying to blame the adultery on her, but he's the married one. He's the one that's the adultery.
Yes, he's the married one. And what I'm trying to tell you, I'm gonna tell you because I was an Army shark representative. I'm telling you right now, these guys. I was just reading where this guy raped like 3 or 4 women. And nothing was done to him. Nothing was done to him. And this is what happens. And I know we just jumped, what they said, we just jumped the shark. You know what I'm saying? But this is the thing, like this just happened where Vanessa, the reason why I brought it up because Vanessa Gilliam, because they named a gate after her, but the whole thing about it is, if you know, in Fort Hood, they had a prostitution ring a couple of years ago. You know who was in charge of the prostitution ring? The EO representative and the shark representative for the Post. So the equal opportunity, the EOA and the shark rep for the entire Post were having a prostitution ring of privates. What's going on, Ray Roberts? So what I'm saying to you, all of these things that we're talking about, I know it seems like scatter shots, but the fact of the matter is that we have a problem in this country. We have a problem with racism. We have a problem with sexism. We have a problem with a rape culture. And the reason why is because we have these people, this rotten soil. This is why. And so nothing is going to change until let's be clear, there's an armed insurgency of people that are saying, you're not going to do this. I'm not talking about that bullshit that they did on January 6th. What I'm talking about is the simple fact of people saying, we're not taking this anymore. You will not rape our girls. You will not rape our boys. You will not give slave wages to undocumented immigrants. You will not use state-sanctioned extrajudicial murders against Black and brown people. You're not going to do it anymore. And until all of us stand together, you will not attack Asian Americans. You said every country has problems and corruption. Okay, but I'm not living in every country, 12 Veils. I'm living in this country. So what I got to do is make sure my own grid square is taken care of. I don't live in those other countries. You know what I'm saying? And I get what you're saying.
I get her point too. And like you said, we're not living in those other countries. There's nothing we can do. I mean, you could maybe put a voice, don't need $1 here and there, but it's like by you saying that it's like we put money in other people's country. We want to help other countries. We want to do this, we want to do that. But when you look at our country, we can't even help ourselves. When you look
12 Veils, I'm gonna say it to you like this. You said it's universal, right? But what I will tell you is that America purports and pontificates on being the moral light of the world, right? America will send soldiers to die to so-called bring democracy to their country, okay? But who are we to even do that? We don't have any moral high ground to send anybody anywhere to say our way of living is better than yours. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you have people living in this country that are living like they're in Iraq or like Yemen or in different parts of the continent of Africa. We don't have the moral high ground, the footing to say anything like that. And everybody has bought into this American exceptionalism, and it's bullshit.
You're correct. That's
there. What I'm saying.
If you go to LA right now, there are parts of LA like Yemen.
There's parts of Georgia where
people living in tents underneath bridges.
There's parts of Georgia where it looks like a third world country.
Yeah. And this is what I was getting at too earlier on, is that here we are, we're doing all these things, we're putting these high moral things in there, but we're not even helping ourselves. Our country doesn't even, you know, it doesn't matter how you became homeless, it doesn't matter why you're homeless. The point is that you spend so much money in some other bullshit things, and you want to call yourself that you're the best country in the world, but you have this problem that you can easily take care of by building these people tiny homes, get them into these tiny homes, and say, you know what, you're gonna live here for a while until you get yourself situated, and then we'll help you do this, we'll help you do that, until that person gets, a job, the person gets his own place. That's what you could do, but they don't do that. They
mental health.
Because you know why? Because they give you more shit to talk about in the next presidential debate, in the next Senate hearing, or in the next election. It gives them something to talk about.
Mental health. A lot of I'm sorry. What I was gonna say was a lot of the people are homeless right now is because of mental health issues. If we had, you said America doesn't have mass migration, people come to America, so that makes America the best. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to argue that fact. I don't know what to say about that. And to be totally honest, you're right. There isn't a mass exodus from America, but I'm going to tell you why. Because most Americans think because of the propaganda that America is the best thing smoking. Actually, if you look at America's standing when we're talking about women's rights, LGBTQ, living standards, quality of life, we're like number 30.
Probably more than that. Because if you look, put it this way, there are countries out there, people say democracy. Democracy has existed in other countries for centuries. I mean, for years. This is not nothing new. There are other. We don't 12 years. We don't know that because we're living here, and that's the thing that we're taught. But if you have a chance, you get money, and you got a chance to travel the world, you will see other countries that act better than we do, have better benefits than we do, have everything, and they live happily. We just don't see it because it's not portrayed in the news. The newspaper will not tell you that. The United States definitely won't tell you that. To them, they'll tell you the truth. Or we're the best country in the world. But how many Scandinavians do you know come to the United States? Not too many. But Scandinavia is one of the happiest countries in the world. They get paid good money. They got everything. There are a lot of countries that are like that. People come. Look, put it this way: if Africa didn't have the corruption that Africa has, Africa would be a better country than the United States. You know how much resources Africa has?
Well, you gotta. Okay, first of all, it's a continent. So
the continent.
Right. But you got to look at it. You got to look at it as a complex thing because they are still colonized and all their resources are being stolen by the British, being stolen by the Chinese, Japanese, and within their own corruptness. But let's be clear about something. You said people in Flint, Michigan should have relocated to stay makes no sense. Okay. You're saying they should relocate to where? How? If you're a poor person and you have this job and you got these kids, that's fine, 12 Veils. How should they leave? What are the steps to that? And I'll leave it at that.
That is true. You make a point. They're poor then, they become even more poor because they have no job, they got no place to live. So you might as well stay where you're at. Now, if I told you, listen, you come to X state, I'm gonna have you a job. I got you an apartment, or I got you a house. You're gonna make X amount of money, and blah blah. That's written in a contract. That's what I'm gonna get. Then there is a point of then you relocate. But why am I gonna go from one place making $7.25 an hour to go to another place that who knows? God knows how long am I going to be unemployed? I don't know where I'm going to get a job. I don't know where I'm going to sleep. How am I going to feed my family? You can't do that. So you're better off where you're at and staying there.
It's better to know the devil. It's better to be with the devil that I know than the devil I don't know. And what you have to look at it is most Americans' healthcare is tied to their job. So I got healthcare here. I'm not going to leave this, especially if I got a sick kid or whatever the situation is. People can't just move. That takes money. You said, aren't those people at the border poor? Why come to a country with its own poverty? Okay, so that all poverty is not equal, 12 Veils. What you have to understand is that if you are willing to trek those miles, if you are willing to leave where you're at, it has to be a living hell. Okay?
Yeah, because
where you're at.
even put it this way, even if you not talking about that, if you go to these countries like Mexico, you go to these countries, Ecuador or Honduras, and those people who are working, even though they're not working, they're not making that much money, right? But they're happy, you know, they're not happy, but they're okay with what they're making. They're okay doing whatever it can be. They'll stay there instead of saying, you know what? Let me cross this all on the shit. Let me cross the river. God knows what's gonna happen to me at the river. I can drown, I can get shot, and then I leave all this behind the little that I have to go to uncertainty. And then if I get killed over there, I get brought back. Now I'm shit. Now I got no home. I got no job. And but like Anastasia said, you have to be in a desperate mood that there is no way out. Because even if you have this much of hope, even if you're working, you're making $3 a day or whatever they can be, that's still enough that to them. You take a loaf of bread and you divide it into other people. You know, if you're a family of 5, you divide it into 5. You take a sausage, you do something to survive, but you're not gonna go where you have something, even though it's little, to somewhere you know that you don't have nothing. You go, if you have nothing, to go to nothing, then that's okay. But when you have a little to go to nothing, then it's different.
And the other thing about it is with Flint, what you forget, 12 Veils, is those people pay taxes. Their taxes are supposed to go for the infrastructure. So if I'm paying taxes, right? And I'm doing what I'm gonna tell you, because predominantly in Flint is Black. I'm doing what white America tells me. I'm working hard. I'm not getting into any trouble. I'm paying my taxes, and my kids are still being poisoned. That's bullshit. You shouldn't have to move for that, because the simple fact of the matter is not just Flint. It's New Jersey. It's New York. It's down south. It's not just one place. Okay, it's on these Native American reservations that the same exact thing that's going on in Flint is going out there. A lot of people don't know that when the pipeline was supposed to be going, it was supposed to be going through a white neighborhood. But the white people said, no, you're not finna poison us. And guess what America did? Okay, Native Americans, we know we promised you this. Right. I think it's the Dakota Access Pipeline. Yeah, it was supposed to go through a predominantly white, rich neighborhood. And they said no. That's what happened. And that's what happens with a lot of neighborhoods, especially Black neighborhoods. They break the neighborhoods up, or they deem Black and brown neighborhoods as commercial areas. So now you can dump trash there. Now you can put all these manufacturing companies there. And now you can legally poison the people. You have neighborhoods where they're surrounded by a highway or a busy road. This is why a lot of these children in these areas have asthma and eczema and all of these things, because they are targeting them and killing them slowly. And that's just documented. So, I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. I don't know what to say about that.
This was a good conversation.
Okay.
I'm going to have to let you go because I have to get up early tomorrow morning. I have
me and you both. Okay.
But I appreciate you coming on my show. I'm very grateful, and I would join yours when I have a chance. Thank you for sending me. Whenever you go on, you always send me an invite, so I appreciate that. 12 Veils, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Gataí, that's my wife, so I won't say hi to her. She's next door anyway. Well, say hi to Dennis and to everyone in your family, and thank you. Have a good weekend.
All right. Have a good night, 12 Veils. Tell your wife I said hello.
All right.